Sleeping Warrior. First you think you're a scientist, now you think you're a painter. Oh boy. Oh well, let's get this video started so I can wreck it like the others.
Okay everybody, today we're going to paint like Bob Ross.
What?
We're going to start off with my famous density tower, and for this illustration we're going to think that we are the cherry tomato in the middle.
What?
So we are the cherry tomato in the middle. Let's remove all the labels so that we don't have any of the labels, and we're going to give these numbers later. So let's add some artifacts. Now that we've got rid of all of the numbers, let's going to add some elements to the picture. We'll start with some ground. This is the ground and the cherry tomato is now on the ground.
Oh no, my brains.
And we need to give these values some numbers so that we can make sense of these things. Not that difficult. We'll call the ground 1000. We'll give the arbitrary value of the human to be about 70. And we'll give all the other layers some numbers. We'll finish up at the top with 1.5 for the ping pong ball, and then we'll change the ping pong ball into a sun, and then all of a sudden it's beginning to look a lot like our world.
Oh jeez. I guess I must debut my new segment called Science with Your Pal. Hey Sleeping Warrior, the sky is not pink. And this was Science with Your Pal.
Don't you think? So now let's give it some water. We'll give the water the value of 67 because we know that humans can drown in water without the ability to swim. And now I think we'll have some clouds, some stratos and cumulonimbus. So we'll stick them some stratos clouds, they're the lower levels, we'll give them the value of 8.7, and the cumulonimbus clouds will give you the value of 4.2 because they're a little bit higher in the atmosphere. It's beginning to look a lot like a landscape environment now, don't you think?
Oh wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Let's consider the elements that make up the atmosphere. We know that nitrogen and oxygen are the main component elements to the atmosphere. So we'll bear that in mind in the volume, stick to the volume, but they're two labels that we're going to use for the layers of the atmosphere. And we also know that all of the gases have got atomic weights. So when we look to what the atomic weights are in the periodic table, we can see that nitrogen and oxygen are both 7 and 8. They're numbered 7 and 8 in the periodic table. And we know that as you go further down the table, they've got different elemental weights. So we know that the environment that we're breathing has these elements to it. So we can stick all these elements in. We'll just label them up as so.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have to do it again. There you go. Now it's another Science with Your Pal. Hey Sleeping Warrior, did you know that we human beings, we don't breathe nitrogen? And that was Science with Your Pal.
And we can see all of a sudden it begins to look very explainable. Without this so-called downwards acceleration force.
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
That's not a force, that everybody wants to be a force, but isn't there. And even if it is there, nobody can prove it, but nonetheless, we're demanded that we accept that it is there.
Gravity! Gravity!
Whatever we live in, We don't need a downwards acceleration force.
Gravity! Gravity!
Everything is relative to us, and this pictorializes for everybody how really straightforward our world really is. I hope this makes sense.
Our survey said...